Hello YouTube! I am back! It's been so long. Oh, and I missed you. It's me, Tabea. This is Not Quite a Degree, where we talk about things that I don't have a degree in, but I do have an opinion on. Today, our topic will be New York City. I went over to the States to see some family and had the chance to go to New York City for a weekend, and I thought, why not take that opportunity to have a little chat about that? First things first, why did I even go over? So, as I already said, I went to Minnesota, which is where my former host family lived. I used to be an exchange student over in the US, which has been, I feel like about 7 years. Since I got back from that, and I've always stayed in contact with them, and I do consider them part of my family, and so it's always nice to go and see them from time to time. And by from time to time, I mean every 3 years, because it's hella expensive to go over there. So yeah, that's that. I went to see family. And then I went over to New York City as a graduation gift for myself, because I have finished the coursework of the basically both of my degrees. One of my degrees is basically finished. I'm just needing to do an internship, and then the other degree I am not quite done, but I have done the major amount of courses, and it's only like electives that are left. So I'm pretty good there too, and I felt like after two really hard years, it would be the time to give myself a bit of rest, a bit of like a good old time, and thought, yeah, why not spend some money and go over to the US again. I went on this trip by myself. Seeing family, I suppose that's not really anything special, but also going to a big city, especially a city as big as New York, going by yourself can be kind of daunting a little bit. So I wanted to share what I learned, because I have been solo traveling before, and actually feel like I learned a lot on this trip. So I kind of wanted to share with you how I feel about the whole solo travel thing, and also a couple things that I really liked in New York City. Before we get into everything, let me just give you appreciation for this beautiful cup, mug, whatever. Come on, you can do it. Ooh. Yes. Yes. I went to Books on Magic, and it was magic, and I got a mug, and I love that mug. So sometimes videos like this can be kind of long, so why not get into the things that I did first and get those out of the way. So if you're like, I just kind of want to hit up some cool spots in New York, and I want to know what I could do for that, just stay for this part of the video. And if you're still like, I want to know some more about solo travel and I want to know a bit more about solo travel and how everything went down, and how that trip has kind of changed my perspective on a couple things, then you're welcome to stay longer. Yeah. Where do I recommend you go when you go to New York City? I don't know. I've only been there twice. The first time I went, I did all the touristy stuff like Statue of Liberty, Rockefeller Center. I didn't even go up anywhere. All of that. And so this time around, I really wanted to do stuff that I personally know I really enjoy, like bookstores, thrifting, and museums, like art stuff. It's just stuff that I just love to do in my free time, and so I was like, hey, why not do it? So I went over on a Friday night, got to my hotel at 5 o'clock, so basically going in September and knowing that the sun will settle eventually, I knew I wasn't going to have that much time left anyway on that Friday night. So what I did is I went to the MoMA. The MoMA is the Museum of Modern Arts. I think it's pretty well known. I think lots of people who went to New York have gone there. The thing that I didn't know before I went, and that I found out through my research though, is that they do free admission nights on Friday nights. You can just go from anywhere to 4 until 8 o'clock, I want to say. Yeah, it should be 8 o'clock because that's when they close. And just get a free ticket. Like, you just walk up to the counter, they hand you a ticket, and then you can just walk around the museum and like look at all the art and just enjoy it for free, without paying, I feel like the 14 to 20 bucks, whatever it is, in general admission. So that was pretty cool. I gotta say though, I'm very happy that I did get the free admission. I would not have paid full price for that though. The things you can see in that museum, for example, are Starry Night by Vincent van Gogh. which is one of those things where it's just like, wow, this is a painting and there's 100 people standing in front of that painting taking photos of said painting. And I was just like, why do we take a photo of a painting? Like, you could just Google it, you know? So it really reminded me of the whole Mona Lisa situation in the Louvre, where I went a couple of years ago, where it was just like, there's the most humongous paintings literally in the next room, and then you walk in to see the Mona Lisa and it's literally like what feels like as big as my head. And I'm like, really? And that is where people come to? Like, this is the reason why people go to that museum? And this is where, like, everyone crowds around that thing, and I'm just like, why? For what reason? So that was interesting, I guess. So yeah, but that's for the MoMA. If you want to go on Friday nights, because I feel like it's also a good feeling to be there with a lot of people, you know, it's like a lot of just rummaging around, and it's a good general atmosphere. The next thing up on my list is the New York Public Library, best known for their lions. The New York Public Library is in Midtown, so it's not really that far away actually from the MoMA, but I went on the next day. It's a very beautiful building. They have just like, I don't know, like it's just beautifully built. And it's, I want to say it's the biggest library in New York, but don't pin me down on that one. Anyway, what I did is I went on one of the free guided tours, which is another cool thing you can do, where they just kind of take you around the whole library on all 3 floors. They explain to you where all the collections are, what some of the murals on the walls are about, you know, what the interior is made of, and just really cool things, and just kind of a couple behind the scenes stories. And we had this lovely woman called, I want to say it was Carol. She was dope, like her style on point, man, on point. And I feel like she's been working there for like 25 years or something, so true librarian at heart. I loved her, she was awesome. And she just kind of showed us around and like kind of, you know, gave us the tour basically. The one thing you should know though is you don't really get to see that many books, which I thought was a little weird really. Like, they take you around this whole library and you see so much of it really, but I don't know, there's not many books because most of the collections that they have there, they talk about them, but they're closed behind doors. And I mean, there's like, you can look into it, but there's only so much you can see from like a bull eye window basically. And then what else was there? The Rose reading room. I want to say that it's like the main reading room. I think that's the one thing the library is best known for. It has like this huge mural on the ceiling and just books all around, and it's open to, part of it is open to the public, definitely. Yeah, that thing actually has been closed for a while, so it was cool being there when it was open. And I mean that's like the best picture opportunity. But generally it was just like a really fun thing to do. And also what I felt when I went on that tour was it was just a good group of people that were there. Like, people were actually asking questions and being really interested, as opposed to other touristy things where it's just like, yeah, we're here, why don't we just listen to you, and yeah, that's it, you know. People were engaging and it was really fun. So I invite you to go on that tour. It's about an hour long. As I said, it's free. And they do it, I think, twice a day, every day, running Monday through Saturday. Yeah. Food. And most importantly, obviously, I went to 2 places that just stole my heart. They did, for sure. One of them is a breakfast place called Goten. They have several locations, one in Midtown, one in Tribeca, and I want to say one in Brooklyn or like the Williamsburg area, you know, somewhere there. But I'm not 100% sure of that. But they definitely do have one in Midtown that was really, really nice. They make a lot of like healthy breakfast options. I had this amazing oatmeal with like strawberries and different kinds of seeds on it, and just like really, really good. I had some tea with it, and it was just a generally good experience. besides the fact that I almost joined the uni walking, the uni would not be a problem, but the union walking in there, they had this like parade. I feel like it was still related to Labor Day, which happened a couple days before that, which paraded basically the whole block in front of the Goten that I went to. I was just like walking by and being handed these slips of papers to like join them or whatever. It was just like, I don't know what this is about, I don't want to. It was kind of funny. So yeah, that was that. And then the second place that I just loved was Hughs Kitchen, or Hughs Kitchen, Hugh, whatever. It's a place, oh, I don't know what part of the city that counts as, but it's a bit further south. Probably kind of, that's not Soho, maybe kind of the Chelsea area still. Where you can get a lot of paleo options actually with your food. So meat, veggies, and everything is fresh, everything is cooked with like very simplistic ingredients, and it's really, really good and decently affordable. So that was amazing. I had meatballs with sweet potato and then caramelized pineapple, and it was really good. So I advise you to go there. And it's kind of hidden, like the front of it is not really that well visible, so you might want to look up the address before you go. Then I went thrifting, which was fun. Oh, in New York, I know it's not the best place to go thrifting, because really, like when they say vintage, they mean vintage. I've been to so many stores where I just had like designer stuff, $300 and more, hanging on the racks, and I was just like, okay, like they're serious about their vintage here. But I also managed to find a couple thrift stores that are on the actual like thrift store budget. I went to Crossroads Trading and I got this beautiful blazer. It's actually from Calvin Klein. It was $25 and I love it. It's so fun. So that was my one good find. Sadly, that was also the only find that I had. But oh well, that was a success. I also went to a couple Goodwills and just like random stores that I came across. But yeah, nothing to be found there. So if you want to go to Crossroads Trading, do it, because apparently they have good stuff. So we have food and we have thrifting. So lastly was books, that I said is on my list of things that I love to do. I also went to Chelsea Market, which I didn't enjoy. It was like way too crowded for me, way too many people. I went to the arts and fleer section, which is supposedly like just really popular right now, but it's like also just really pricey and crowded and just it wasn't my thing. Anyway, so books. I went to the Strand and Books Are Magic, which are the two bookstores you will probably find in any NYC bookstore video that is out there on YouTube, and I gotta say both of them were experiences. It was really, really cool. If I had to choose though, I would probably recommend you actually go to Books Are Magic, even though it is in Brooklyn, which is quite far out if you're coming from Manhattan, but it's still kind of really well accessible. Like you don't have to change trains a lot or anything. So the Strand is this really big bookstore with several stories of just books, everything. And I liked it, but it was also a case of very crowded and just kind of narrow, and you know, I don't know, it was just like too many people in there for me at that particular time, and also it was like after a full day of walking, so I was kind of exhausted anyway. But I enjoyed it. The employees were really nice. They helped me find everything I wanted to find, even though I didn't end up buying anything in the end. And you can, I feel like, literally buy any book that is like on the shelves right now in that store at any given moment. So if you're looking for anything, you'll probably find it there. But then on the next day, I went to Books Are Magic, which is this cute little independent bookstore. It's like just adorable. They have a really, really nice kids section in the back where they actually read stories to children, and I was like, oh, I love that. And then basically it's like a maisonette thing where you kind of walk down the stairs in the back, and like the front part of it is just like, you know, books, novels, everything that's out right now, but it's not very big, and so you kind of don't have as much of a selection as you would in the Strand. But they really I feel like they do really well in picking their books and putting books together on tables that go well together. There definitely is a feminism focus, and there's like some political aspects to it as well, but they have a really nice novel section, and yeah, it's just a really lovely place to go. They have this huge mural that's super famous on their wall outside, and it's just like just a good bookstore, the way a bookstore should ideally be. We made it finally past all my recommendations. I feel like I've just been going on and on forever. There's a lot to talk about. New York is huge, so there's that. But I wanted to talk about some things that I took away from this. I feel like it was my second solo trip, as you can say, that I've taken in my life, even though the first one was really long and this one was really short, but I feel like still. Solo travel is something that I didn't think I was a fan of after my first trip, which was basically traveling across all of Canada and the US in 2015, so 3 years ago. I didn't like that trip because I just didn't feel very comfortable. There were points where I didn't feel safe. I don't know, I was staying with a lot of strangers, which I figured afterwards was not really my preferred mode of travel. And just, yeah, that was that. And so this time around, I really made a point of planning my trip exactly the way I wanted to have a trip for myself. For me, that would definitely include having a hotel. Is such an important part that I realized after coming home now and after being there. I just love having a hotel room instead of like a couch surfing room, an Airbnb, even though Airbnb probably is still kind of okay, but you know, or other forms of staying somewhere. I just loved coming back, having a bed, having a door that I can close, having my own bathroom and my own Wi-Fi that I could use without anybody just looking at my screens or interfering with me, but I didn't have to talk to people that I didn't know. And you know, I'm not antisocial or anything, but when I did couch surfing, I just felt this obligation to spend time with these people, which I mean you do if you couch surf, that is the whole point of it, but it's just not anything that I enjoy. Like after a long day of walking and doing all of these things in the city, I just want to come home and be at peace with myself and to have time to myself, because I am someone, I just need time to recharge in the evening, and I need that time to myself. So really biting the bullet and paying more for a hotel room, and I mean it's expensive AF actually, to stay in New York was the best idea. It just made the trip so much better for me because I just felt really, really comfortable knowing that I had a safe place to go back to. Another thing that I encountered on my first solo trip where I was like, oh, this is really annoying and kind of awkward, was the whole eating out situation, because I mean, you're most likely gonna spend all day outside anyway and, you know, eat out everywhere. And in New York, I realized that's not a problem because most people do that there. Like in Manhattan, so many people are just there working that they'll just like, you know, grab lunch by themselves, have dinner by themselves because, well, you know, whatever. And nobody really cares. Most restaurants really cater to that. Like, I didn't feel awkward in any of the places that I ate because most of it is really nicely laid out, so you're not sitting on a table in the middle of a room being like, I don't know what I'm doing. That just really doesn't happen, or didn't happen to me. So that was nice. And then another thing that kind of comes with the whole eating sitting down part is Wi-Fi. Most places have Wi-Fi, which I thought was really convenient because, you know, coming from Europe, I don't have a phone plan when I'm in the US, so I need Wi-Fi if I ever need to find my way around. And A+ for Wi-Fi everywhere and Starbucks on every block, I suppose. Also on that note, I didn't know before, but you can actually use Google Maps with just a GPS on your phone when you don't have internet, which is super helpful when you know where you want to go, but you just need to know where you are in order to find your way. So that was really helpful. Lastly, on my whole solo experience, travel, whatever thing, my main takeaway basically is planning is everything when you travel alone. I feel like when you travel with someone else, you just kind of sit down together and be like, oh yeah, let's just go over things, and you just kind of go with the flow. But when you travel alone, I feel like for me, it was so nice to know I'm gonna go there for breakfast, I'm take that route to that place, do this, do that, go down there, have lunch there, have dinner there, whatever, like just know exactly where I was going all the time. Just made me feel so much more comfortable when walking in the street, and just kind of gave me like a purpose for my whole day. And I feel like that's just so much better than just kind of drifting across the city and just being like, whatever, I'll go what comes up, you know. I don't know, maybe that's just me because I'm like the biggest planner in this universe, but it just helped me so much to like figure out exactly what I was gonna do the next day beforehand. I mean, I planned for weeks, but anyway, and then to just go with it. And yeah, that was really something that I just learned on this trip. I didn't know that on my last trip, and I feel like that probably would have made my last trip so much better, instead of just walking around randomly in cities that I didn't know, like actually knowing what I wanted to do. So that was it, you know, that was like some recommendations, some solo travel, and we're not gonna get into the whole transformative trip action because this video is already so freaking long. But let me just tell you, it was a very transformative trip. It was an awesome graduation gift to myself. I enjoyed it so immensely. The week with my family as well as the week in NYC. And yeah, just, it was awesome. And I hope if you have never been to New York that you might want to go someday, or that you get to go one day, and maybe some of these tips will help you. So yeah, just thank you for being there today. Thank you so much for coming back to my channel. And that's it for today, and I guess I will hopefully see you next week. I think so. So yeah, bye bye!